Hey guys, what's up? It's Finch here. Today we're going to be recording a couple of tournament games for Tournament Tuesday. All of these games happened during the second week of the Smogon Premier League. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's the biggest tournament on Smogon. It consists of 3 SSOU slots and then 1 slot for each generation of older OU. This is going to be a game of Sun and Moon Overused between frisoeva, who is a friend of mine and a longtime tournament player in SMOU and various other tiers, and Aurella, who is a bit newer to the playing scene but previously has been a great teammate and manager in various settings, including the most recent Smogon Snake Draft and other tournaments as well. Looking at the team preview, I think there's some really cool teams, and that's why I wanted to highlight this game. First and foremost, Aurella's team. She's rocking a very interesting hyper-offensive team. I really love seeing these more aggressive picks in the SMOU metagame because a lot of people tend to consider more modern generations of OU more balance-based, but truth be told, you can go a lot of different directions in SMOU in particular, in my opinion. And this is a great example of that. You see this team is built around what seems to likely be a screens Tapu Koko. Now, some people have implied to off screens Tapu Koko and then run a spec set to maybe get a surprise strong attack off in an early game and then still set up opposing team members with the electric drain. But this team, I feel like it appreciates the more dedicated screen support with things like Mawile and Superior. So it's going to be interesting to see how they can be applied here. In addition to this, Aurella is also using Necrozma, and Necrozma is such a fun Pokemon in my opinion. You can do so many different things. You can potentially see it with rocks, you could see it with Calm Mind Stored Power, you could see it with Rock Polish Stored Power, Physical, Special, Dragon Dance. There is a very wide spectrum of possibilities. Now, my personal guess would be this is going to be a Double Dance Stored Power set with either Heat Wave or Hidden Power Last, with Heat Wave being a bit more common. But I've been wrong so many times before, and guessing sets on teams like this is hard. As for the Z move, it could either be on Necrozma or it could be on Victini, and it could be a stored power variant, which would make a lot of sense as well. The double stored power core would be pretty damn hard for most teams to deal with. That would mean that it would be a Z Celebrate Victini. And the rest of the sets, I'd imagine it's probably like a Sucker Punch 4 attack or 3 attack. Probably with Thunder Punch, Flare Off, and either Swords Dance or Ice Punch last from Mega Mawile. Of course, it has to have Flare Off as well. And as for Superior, I'm less sure of what it is. Glare for Tornado's team makes some sense on this team, but it could. I don't think it's going to be a subset because that wastes your own turns. It's kind of counterintuitive, but anything else is viable under the whole realm of possibilities, if you will. But all in all, I really love risky but high reward. High risk, high reward type of teams like this, like Aurella's team. And that's why I was really kind of inclined to record this video. Looking at frisoeva's team, it does look like a bit more standard, but I think there are some really cool elements of it. First and foremost, there's a core offensively that fits into balance teams that I've always found to be super underrated, and that's Mega Alakazam plus Stealth Rock Garchomp, particularly Stealth Rock Z Garchomp. Now, it could still be a Life Orb Alakazam or a Sash Alakazam with Mega Tyranitar or even a Mega Garchomp, but that strikes me as quite unlikely. Mega Alakazam makes the most sense here as a revenge killer and a potentially fast late game breaker. And I love how well Garchomp is able to poke holes in things like Celesteela, or even chip things like Landorus T and grass types like Tapu Bulu and Tangrowth to put them in range for Alakazam in a later game. And I think that kind of core here, especially with the offensive pressure that you get from Sand, from Tyranitar, Leech Seed from Celesteela, potential status from Rotom and Amoonguss, really goes nicely together. I think not only does it have a good matchup against offensive teams due to Celesteela stopping momentum and Alakazam presenting team with speed, but also a bit more bulky teams that could really apply pressure to. And I think that's an interesting angle that frisoeva took in preparation there. I definitely really enjoyed both of these teams, and honestly, I might even enjoy the teams more than the game here. And sometimes, as a player who's a bit more passionate about generations like SM and Black-White, I love geeking out a team preview and being like, wow, these teams, not only aesthetically do they look cool, because look at frisoeva's team, it's kind of a badass looking team if you ask me, but also, I love thinking of all the possibilities of the sets and how they could play off each other. And I think that team building is kind of a craft that in tournaments like SPL or World Cup or Smogon Snake Draft, for those of you familiar, a lot of the higher end players are really able to master and display on a consistent level on this stage, and I think that's really cool. But yeah, without further ado, we're going to get into it. I'm assuming many of you came here for, and that would be the game itself, as I don't want to ramble for more than 5 minutes of team preview. So, looking at the matchup, I definitely think that Aurella has some pieces that could break, such as a accurate Victini. But At the same time, the combination of Leech Protect on Celesteela coupled with Alakazam's revenge killing capabilities definitely make it a very winnable matchup for frisoeva. In fact, I'd even favor him if he could make quick work of the Tapu Koko and Landorus T, which is going to limit the amount of setup opportunities that Aurella is going to have. So let's wait and see what happens. Garchomp lead for Frizzo, perhaps predicting the non-spec Tapu Koko. He's going to instead lead into Landorus, and they're both going to go for rocks. And right off the bat, Celesteela is going to come in for frisoeva, predicting the explosion. It's still going to take 40%, which isn't the end of the world for Aurella, as if you look at this, it's now all the way down to 55%, meaning suddenly a +2 in Power Fire from Superior or a Thunder Punch from Mawile can be very threatening. Not to mention a +1 Heat Fury from the Necrozma after Stealth Rock is undoubtedly going to take out the Celesteela. So right off the bat, it's a pretty decent trade for Aurella, even if it doesn't look like it because it's 40% for essentially a whole Pokemon, but that's not the worst you could do here, that's for sure. Now Coco's going to come in here, and it does look like the screen variant, and it does indeed reveal screens. Unfortunately, that's not really able to touch Garchomp. The best it's going to be able to do is U-turn, and it revealing U-turn there also means it doesn't have an electric move, as it probably is Taunt. Superior coming in here is good for Aurella, as it's going to pressure the Garchomp to Tukio up, but the thing is that even with the Celesteela chip, one good part about this matchup for frisoeva would be that he has the Amoonguss, and Amoonguss with only Reflect Up is going to be able to wall the Superior, as it can tank a Leaf Storm into a +2 hidden Power Fire comfortably, even potentially living 2 hidden Power Fires depending on its EV spread and rolls after Stealth Rock, while Sludge Bomb is maybe going to be able to kill from this after Leftovers, which it does show it has. It should be able to live with Sludge Bomb, but still, that's not really a worthwhile trade considering that Amoonguss isn't needed for Mawile, Victini, or Necrozma, so all of a sudden you could just dedicate Amoonguss to checking Superior, which is huge for frisoeva. And Aurella sees that and gets a glare off to try and get some free turns, and she's actually going to get benefited from that choice and getting a free paralysis there as Mawile comes in. And then on the following turn, perhaps predicting a switch to the Celesteela, or it's going for a mid-ground move that hits both Celesteela and Rotomosh. The Thunder Punch and Electric Train is going to be Aurella's move of choice here, doing a nice 56% to the Rotomosh, but still the Mawile is going to be scared up by the prospect of Will-O-Wisp or even a boosted Hydro Pump from Stab, and Will-O-Wisp is indeed going to be to play as Superior comes back in, which now puts the Superior on a timer and also likely in range of Sludge Bomb. So now I think that Aurella is going to kind of sit put and say, okay, I'm fine with this trade, but instead of accepting the trade, frisoeva this time actually goes to his Alakazam, knowing the glare is not coming with the Amoonguss paralyzed, and he's able to get it in correctly on that Leaf Storm, and the threat of a Mega and Psychic, especially from Mod's Alakazam, is going to scare the Superior, bring in the Mawile, which is going to take a whopping 40% damage from that Psychic despite the resistance, and knowing that it could potentially live a Psychic and not thinking that Aurella is going to fodder, frisoeva is going to fodder off the Alakazam to a Sucker Punch potentially, or risk missing Focus Blast, Aurella wisely decides to go for the Play Rough. Now, this is a great play here because Play Rough is going to absolutely demolish everything that's going to come in its way aside from the Amoonguss, and again, it's likely going to be Knockoff or Ice Punch that will be able to clock that, and I don't see any way that Amoonguss can get this killed, and there's always a chance of being a sub-Mawile, so you can't even get a Spore off safely. All in all, I think Play Rough there was a bit lower risk than it might have seemed. I know that Alakazam's quicker and could kill it, but I think that was a great play from Aurella to try to even up the score, and that it did exactly, making it a 5-5 game, as Frizzo simply foddered one of his least useful Pokemon. Now Garchomp comes in once more, and again it's going to lure in the Superior. This time around, he can't go Alakazam, and staying in wouldn't be the best play, as it would weaken the Garchomp even more, perhaps putting it even in Sucker Punch range. So Amoonguss is going to be the play, and it's only going to take 8% from that Leaf Storm, likely revealing that it's a more specially defensive variant, and +2 hidden Power Fire is probably going to do about half. It does 42%, yeah, and nope, no full paralysis coupled with hidden Power Fire connecting there after the burn is going to put us in a 5-4 game in favor of frisoeva as the Tapu Koko comes in here. Now, I don't agree with this Tapu Koko entirely. I feel like going to Mawile could have potentially taken this out, or going to Necrozma just saying, okay, it's time to sweep, maybe baiting that Dranitar, get some weakness on that, so then a Focus Blast from Victini could kill later. But if it wasn't Assault Vest Dranitar, which I'm not sure if it was or wasn't, then maybe it would have died to a +1 AV, +1 Focus Blast regardless. I'm not sure, but regardless of that, it seems as if Aurella wanted to get screens up promptly, but I just don't know if she has the ability to break the entirety of frisoeva's team once the screens are set, and that's why I feel like they're premature. I feel like you'd rather try and get some leverage through other means, but regardless, it's going to be screen set up, followed by a switch to Victini, and Victini's going to dodge a stun spore, so that's great for Aurella, as Searing Shot's going to take out the Amoonguss, making it a 4-4 game, but all of a sudden, Garchomp's back in to try and revenge kill the Victini, and it's not going to be able to do so just yet due to Reflect being up, but it's going to do enough to where any other attacker, a couple turns of Sands, may very well be enough to make quick work of that Victini. Here we're going to see the Z celebrate here from Aurella, unsurprisingly. Now here is a crazy important turn. If we see a Focus Blast in Tyranitar, again, if it kills, all of a sudden, Sand is going to be up and put you on a timer, yes, and there is a Protect, but all of a sudden after that, you could kind of spam Stored Power or Searing Shot a little bit easier. But with Tyranitar alive, neither of those moves doing any damage, so if you're able to call that and hit Focus Blast, then you might have a chance at winning, but if you go for, say, a Searing Shot or the Stored Power on the switch to Celesteela, on Tyranitar, you take Burn, then there's a potential of switching around Focus Blast, as both the Alakazam, actually Alakazam dies, but Celesteela should live a +1, and maybe even the Garchomp, so all of a sudden it becomes a bit of a game, so this turn is going to determine a lot of what happens, and Tyranitar is going to come in. Is Aurella going to be able to click Focus Blast? Oh, just barely missing out there, and I get it, it's hard to always be precise with your predictions, and unfortunately for Aurella, she's going to miss the follow-up Focus Blast, especially in a debut, high-pressure situation like this. So yeah, Frizzo made the right pivots there, and it looks like Aurella's going to fall just short. Maybe there's a slight bit of hope if she's able to get a kill in the Celesteela, but ultimately, after a double Protect and a bit of an overprediction, the Victini's going to go down without getting any progress, and that looks like it's a very good spot for frisoeva to be in now, up 4-3, and a Tapu Koko they know is not able to do much damage to the Celesteela besides U-turn, so yeah, Taunt there is a smart play, but then Alakazam is going to come in here now, which is able to not only outrun the Tapu Koko, but only way it could kill is if U-turn. If U-turn locks, then it's going to be even weaker. So yeah, momentum doesn't really do a ton. Psychic to add insult to injury is also going to get a higher roll on Mega Mall, this time taking it out, leaving Necrozma to be Aurella's last-ditch chance of winning the game. But ultimately, with Tyranitar at 88% and Celesteela all the way back up at 67%, it's not going to be nearly enough, as the combination of Rock Polish and then a follow-up Combined is simply going to lead to a disastrous ending for Aurella, as Celesteela is able to get a leech sheet off, followed by a heavy slam, and ultimately the process of chipping through the Necrozma simply will prove to be futile, as the stored power there is only going to do 35, and you're left to wonder what the last move is, but you don't actually find out, as Aurella is going to concede, and frisoeva is going to emerge victorious for a victory for the Raiders, I believe, the Team Raiders over the, I want to say over the Ruiners, yeah, correct, okay. Definitely a well-played game by frisoeva, and a really cool team choice on both ends. I think Aurella might have been able to do 1 or 2 turns in a different fashion to optimize odds, but all in all, it still would have taken some really above and beyond prediction in order for her to have a likely chance of winning this game, and that definitely gives frisoeva some great props for team choices and gameplay execution due to that position that Aurella was put in. All in all, I hope you guys enjoyed this game. I definitely wanted to showcase SPL game with hyper offense being used. I think that's really cool. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed. And if you guys have any thoughts on the game, be sure to let me know down in the comments below. Alright, hope you all have a great week and stay safe. I might not be recording a ton throughout this week. I just found out that someone at my mom's work has COVID, and I mean right now I'm literally wearing a mask around my own house when I'm not recording downstairs or up in my room, if only just because I want to stay safe. I don't want to catch it, spread to people I work with or especially my grandparents. So yeah, when you're in close quarters with other people, you got to be careful. So I'm just sending this little reminder to all you guys. You got to stay careful. Pandemic is still very real, and just want everyone to stay safe and not have anyone or their family members or loved ones potentially have their health compromised. So yeah, I'm really trying to reach out and spread that message. But anyway, hope you guys all enjoyed. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hope you all have a great day. All right, peace out, guys. Talk to you later.